Okay, let's talk frequency. The entire universe is essentially just frequencies. Frequency is a wave pattern. We know, frequencies of music, right? There's pleasing sounds, there's, not so pleasing sounds. When you go to sleep, your brain is operating on a different frequency than when you're awake, etc. Right? So we're using it more and more, just generally as humans, for other purposes these days. So, for example, kidney stones. We don't cut you open and remove those anymore like we did once upon a time, which now is gonna just seem barbaric. But we just blast waves, like frequencies, at them to bust them up into little tiny pieces, and then you just pee those out. So that's how we do it these days. And then sort of on the flip side, there's also like a bone regrowth frequency. So if you're trying to heal a broken bone and it won't, you can pulse this electromagnetic frequency at it, and it'll heal itself. It'll force them to increase their cellular activity and heal the bone at an accelerated rate. There's a frequency of the earth, right? It's like the earth's heartbeat. It's the Schumann resonance. It's 7.83 hertz, which is exactly where the human brainwaves operate, and sort of a baseline. Well, at your relaxation levels. When you don't have that, like when astronauts go to space and they start to feel like panicky, like they're going crazy, like it just emotional distress. So the planet Earth has like a heartbeat sort of at 7.83 hertz, and humans have grown up in this, so we are biologically like very attuned to it, which, sidebar, the Schumann, like I said, it's been static. Like the Schumann resonance, as long as it has been measured, has been the same. It has been just popping off all of 2025 and 2026, like crazy spikes, huge periods of blackouts, huge periods of whiteouts. Like I don't know what's going on there, but it has, I believe, something to do with the magnetic north-south pole shift. Anywho, we also know about frequency like in other animals, like so bats, dolphins, they emit a frequency and then they use echolocation to see. They don't like use their eyes like we use our eyes. So point being, this all just reinforces the fact that there's no solid objects, right? There's no static, unchanging reality. It is a massive ocean of data vibrating at all these like different speeds, and your brain is taking all of those wavelengths in, interpreting it, and creating this visual for you, which is what you believe the world really looks like. Your brain is just like a radio antenna. It's just sort of picking up, whatever frequency, it needs to, and that determines ultimately what your experience is. Frequencies can have like different like emotions. And okay, this is where it starts to get like crazy. And now I have to go to my notes because I can't remember this stuff, and it's not like common knowledge either. So the government is fully aware of all of this, and uses like all the newer like futuristic weapons or whatever are frequency based. There is voice to skull technology that can make you feel like you're hearing voices, but only you can hear them. They have infrasound array weapons. They emit extremely low frequencies, They're completely silent, so no one can hear them, like you know. But it does interact like with your organs. So it would cause intense, unexplainable panic, hyperventilation, severe nausea, visual hallucinations, which are caused by the eyeballs vibrating. If you were to point this at like a crowd or whatever, they would have like an overwhelming urge to flee the area, convinced they were having some sort of panic attack or sensing a like quote unquote demonic presence with no like noise to point to. Everyone just like feels that way suddenly. Then there's parametric acoustic arrays. These shoot the sound in like a laser beam type of way. So the air itself demodulates the sound, converting it into an audible audio only at the exact coordinates where the beam hits the solid object. So like in your head, this is like the voice to skull. So like you could hear it, but the person right next to you wouldn't hear anything. Gonna make people think they're crazy. Gonna get people onto like antipsychotics or committed. I think perhaps this is what happened to some of those missing scientists. Just randomly leave their house, clear their phone, back to factory settings, just walk away with nothing and just never come back. Multiple of them. Weird. They also have atmospheric laser-induced plasma formations. This is mostly used in naval and aerospace defense. They use high repetition rate femtosecond lasers to ionize the air molecules. So they take the whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into it. But they create a floating ball of plasma. And then by like moving the laser beam around really fast, you can essentially draw three-dimensional glowing solid looking objects. So like a hologram or like what you would, but way more advanced. It would emit its own light. It would move at aerodynamically impossible speeds. So it can make people see things in the sky. They have mesh network drone swarm choreography. I think we've all seen that. How a whole bunch of drones, especially if they're not making any sound, can also produce like, 3D things in the sky. Then we have active denial systems. This is a directed energy weapon that fires a focused beam of millimeter wave electromagnetic radiation at 95 gigahertz frequency. So that would penetrate your skin at just 1/64th of an inch, like exactly where the human pain receptors are located. And so your nervous system will believe your body is literally like on fire. You would feel that 100%. You would run away. But like you freak out, but like you wouldn't have any physical marks on you whatsoever. Now, they could also use these same technologies and just change the frequency. So instead of like hurting people or causing panic or whatever, that you can bliss them out or make them super compliant. So if they were to do them at 4 to 8 hertz, this is going to make everybody like comply. It'll be like very suggestible, like susceptible to suggestion. Wow, I can't say that. You could do the voice to skull stuff and make it feel like a pleasant, like angelic deity voice in people's heads, so it would feel like, God is whispering to them or whatever. You could trigger the release of endorphins and dopamine out of your brain using frequencies. So mood altering stuff. You could basically chemically sedate people like an entire city if you wanted to. So that could, they could use that when people are out like protesting, or if there's like unrest, they can just be like, everybody calm down. So, just thought I'd make people aware of those things. Like, nothing is quite what it seems. You should question everything. And once again, everything is frequency. Nothing is solid. The universe is not made of solid matter. There is no such thing as objective reality. Like, the world is a very different place than what we've all grown up to believe that it is.